Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is Welcome to Paradise, Michigan. I need to quickly make sure that all my players can see and hear me because I'm hearing there are some technical difficulties. You're shaking your heads no.
We cannot see you.
What do you mean you can't see me?
Hear you, yeah.
What do you mean you can't see me?
We're also saying that we can't hear
Oh,
you.
the stream's frozen right now too.
Are you freaking kidding me?
I see the,
the only
Welcome
thing
to
that
Paradise,
can mean.
Michigan stream starting soon, real tiny.
There
It
we go.
says network bandwidth is low.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you see me?
No.
No.
Can you see the overlay?
Oh, there we
Now
go.
I do.
Now we can.
There's the overlay.
Well, I
just
still
popped
don't
up.
see you. It's just your chair.
But you're
Wait,
not there. Yeah.
Wait, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, hold on. Hold on.
Jake Wynn is invisible.
No, hold on. Let me try something.
no.
All right, let me try this.
He only does that sometimes.
Ooh.
Bastard.
Can you see me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yay.
Oh, you son of a
rascal.
That's what we
You
call
rascal.
false technical difficulties. Although there were real technical difficulties in there.
There are tricks and treats.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Hey,
you.
internets! It's Ghost Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is our Halloween episode of Welcome to Paradise, Michigan. This episode is called Welcome to Stapler House, and we'll get into that in a few minutes. There were the whole reason for the little subterfuge was I was telling all of my players that I did not have time to make a costume. I was lying so that I could...
When in fact.
Well, and then you guys were like, we can't see the overlay. And I'm like, but you have to see it because I just spent all this time on this effect.
God damn it.
Tag
This whole
won't
thing's
work.
falling apart.
Also, I can tell you right now, I am not going to be able to be a ghost for super long because it is hot as heck under this.
This is a cotton poly blend and it does not breathe.
It
You
is
don't have a
not
choice
breathable.
when you're
Also,
a ghost, Jacob.
it turns out when you use a giant magic marker to draw your face on, that smell
Jesus.
embeds itself in the sheet. So I don't know what's going to happen with tonight's
That
game.
explains the
Hi,
huge
right now.
grin.
Okay.
It's gonna be
So-
like a fever dream.
You didn't need all those brain cells. It's fine.
Phew. Okay, see, it's really me. Don't worry, Coop. It's not a real ghost.
Oh, thank God,
Woo.
it's him.
Okay. That's a whole lot to get to. The fact that we are about to play our Halloween game. We got a couple of quick announcements before we get into the game proper. And we're going to have some fun on this special Halloween episode that is also the first of our Stapler House arc. So sit back and relax. I'm going to give you a couple of announcements and then we'll move on. First and foremost, take a look over above M and Tamiko and you see all of those domain pops sitting up there. We've got 44 of those up there. Those can only be provided by you, the viewers, through subs and through resubs and gift subs and all that kind of good stuff. As an example, as Tamiko has just gifted 5 subs to the stream community. Thank you, Tamiko. That means you guys are going to bump up to 49 domain pops.
Oh,
I don't know if you guys are gonna feel daring enough to use the D100 chart tonight.
There's a reason I purchased those.
And but they can also use those as +1 to various roles, all that kind of stuff, as adversity tokens. Couple other quick announcements. Tomorrow night, myself and I don't remember which game it is tomorrow. Is it Fiasco?
It is.
Fiasco.
It is the Fiasco game.
So tomorrow it's Fiasco over on Erasmus Expeditions with myself and Jeremy and Chad and Carrie and a couple other wonderful people. And then next week, Friday, Ted and I will be over on Nerdarchy for the Old Guard for one of 2 appearances in the month of November. And then rumor has it I might be over on Erasmus Expeditions. Actually, I think we locked that in. At the end of the month, we'll be over on Erasmus for our 3rd session of Household. So lots of good stuff going on there. You can, of course, on youtube.com/miniTerrainDomain, you can check out the VODs, and in the links for each of the videos are information bar, rather. There are links to everybody's various social medias and YouTube channels if they have them, Twitch channels, all that good stuff. All right. 2 more quick things. 1, just a reminder that we, the players, have safety tools in place. We have had discussions about our lines and veils, and we make sure that we are safe at the table and honoring those lines and veils. But just in case something comes up that we didn't think of, that's why the safety tools are there. And we encourage you to have those at your own table. The reason we have those is this game tends to stray, not even stray, it just straight up wanders into
lives there.
Horror, and we've had body horror, a lot of violence, and some pretty emotional things that come up as well. And so if any of that is something that just you're not into, we encourage you to head over to youtube.com/miniTerrainDomain and check out some of our other games. Check out Legends of Eleonora, the celebrity charity game we did recently. And that's a PG-13 game, so you should be okay with that. And finally, we just want to remind you that you matter. Your presence on this earth makes a difference, whether you believe it or not. It's true. There's a number of reasons you might be struggling, but whatever it is, just know that it's okay to not be okay, but you do not have to struggle alone. At any time, you can come here into our chat and you can type !help. A couple of URLs will show up in the chat, or they will show up at the bottom of the screen. They are findahelpline.com, or you can check out takethis.org's growing list of resources. We encourage you to check out those websites, bookmark them, save them for yourself, save them for a friend, and remember, you matter. With that, I have one more thing to do as I prepare to welcome you all to Paradise, Michigan. We need a little change of scenery as we go into the spooky season here.
Ooh, the overlay, a special overlay. Let's go.
As we prepare to step into this episode, welcome to the Stapler House. I'm going to keep the recap fairly short. Suffice it to say that all of you have been trying to watch out for your friend Billy, who, because of the interference of the people at the Nexus Project, the secret laboratory underneath Paradise, he has been subjected to something called the Cryptid Protocol, which essentially is turning him into a werewolf. Most recently, in order to protect others and yourselves and Billy, you sought to isolate at the Candle Point Lighthouse on Paradise Beach. Though some of you had it in your head that it might not be until closer to midnight before things happened. The full moon was in the sky throughout the day. The moment the sun dipped below the horizon, Billy fully transformed into a werewolf and immediately went after Rosie. However, Jessica and Jessica's mirror image brought to the real world of late, Anne, were immediately on hand, as well as what we took to calling the Lighthouse Kids, Coop, Oak, and Laz up in the lighthouse. They were they were enacting a few plans involving the lighthouse and reflecting silver light and trying to keep Rosie safe and not hurt Billy too much. All of that culminated in more 4 more werewolves showing up on the edge of the dunes by South Bear Lake, howling and summoning Billy the werewolf. And he took off following after them. Additionally, because of the shining of the Candle Point Lighthouse onto the beach, some of you noticed that Jessica and Anne seemed to be fraying around the edges, almost as if the lighthouse was causing them to dissipate. Using the sunglasses that Coop took from the secret laboratory of Dr. K under the barn, you're able to not only see the ley lines, but you're able to see this sort of magic seeping off of them, almost equal to these ley lines, and it seemed to be flowing in the direction that Billy and the other werewolves went. You followed after that, also having been telepathically summoned through Coop from Persephone. You got on your bikes and your skateboard and you rode out to a little ways north of town, down a single lane, where you found yourself standing before a creepy looking house with the full moon setting behind it and the 5 werewolves on top of the house, howling and then disappearing down the back. And that is where we are going to pick up now. Here you are, standing in front of the infamous Stapler House. Though, can a thing be considered infamous if you've only heard it a few times in hushed whispers or rushed excuses, as though everyone is reluctant to speak its name or even acknowledge its existence, passing over any mention of it in a way you might hold your breath while riding your bikes past a graveyard at night. Infamous or not, the Stapler House towers before you, backlit by the silvery orb of the full moon, which even now is settling low on the horizon. The bright moonlight casts most of the house into stark shadow, but like any good Victorian-era house, its silhouette is full of sharp angles, high rooftops, and darkened windows, hinting at its malevolent nature. Stapler House stands 3 stories tall with its attic, 4 if you count the cellar, whose darkened windows reflect the moonlight at intervals around the foundation. There is a circular driveway that curves in front of the house, with a single lane spur that follows along the western side to a carriage house out back. A single set of stairs leads up to the front door in the southwestern corner. On the southeastern corner of the house, a hexagonal tower rises into the night sky, its conical roof seeming to be attempting to pierce the heart of the moon. Just beyond the base of the tower, another set of stairs leads up to a long porch that runs most of the eastern length of the house, with 2 more doors providing entry within. Just visible along the back part of the house is a smaller porch with, presumably, another entrance. In the far back of Stapler House, almost glowing with the light of the moon, sits a white gazebo, and, further back and beyond, the alabaster slabs of worn headstones indicate the presence of a family cemetery. As you take all this in, you notice a sudden chill in the air, raising goosebumps and the hairs on your arms and the backs of your necks. Though it is the middle of the summer, it suddenly feels very much like autumn. Somewhere in the distance, a dog barks. Somewhere much, much closer, a wolf howls, quickly joined by the voices of other wolves, also frighteningly close, forming a macabre, otherworldly choir of savage beauty before suddenly cutting off. You are all left in silence as you stand before the Stapler House. What would you like to do?
Coop says, "We're not going in there, are we?" "Nope. Nope, it's dangerous. That place is condemned, right?"
No, we gotta go inside, Coop. Like, this is where all of this stuff is like drawing us to. Look, like the stuff coming off of Jessica and Anne, it's all pointing right here.
But Laz. I really don't want to go inside.
Look, just stick close to me, okay? Like, it'll be all right. It's just a spooky building. There's nothing wrong with it.
That's what's wrong with it. It's spooky. It's like 90% guaranteed to be haunted.
But I mean, like, that's what they say. But I mean, like, we haven't seen any ghosts or anything. Like, I'm sure it's fine. It's just rumors that are meant to like keep people away. You know, they say stuff about these kinds of old buildings all the time, just to keep people out of them and stuff. Trust me.
Gotta watch our step in there. Just, I think more than ghosts and ghouls, it's our biggest danger is going to be going right through the floor. So just watch your steps. Yeah. Everybody got their shots?
How much of Jessica has disappeared by the time they get to the house?
Nothing. It's not that you didn't, in the time that's passed, it's not that you were actually dissolving away. That was the appearance that you had. It was like a continual, almost like watching steam rise off of your arm in the cold air. You don't actually lose anything, at least as far as you can tell. You are completely intact.
Jessica's just... I mean, like, I could just, like, keep doing this forever as she, like, raises her hand and it's, like, slowly, like, drifting towards the house. But you can see that every time that there's, like, a howl or, like, a bark, Jessica looks very, like almost, like, starts and, like, jumps at it.
And Jake, you said the 5 werewolves are on top of the house?
They were.
They dropped back
after you showed up. They disappeared down the backside. You've heard them howl, and then all of them,
I haven't seen them.
They cut off.
Okay.
I think while all of this is going on, in juxtaposition to Coop being afraid, you see Oak has gotten into his bag and like has the video camera out and is like, Paradise, Michigan. Day 31. We're about to enter a stapler house. It is supposedly horribly haunted. Do I know if we're gonna make it out, Mom and Dad? No, I don't. But I promise, if this happens to be the last words I say to you, I just want to tell you I love you, and we're gonna be fine. It's gonna be cool, man.
As Oak is saying this house is horribly haunted, Rosie is looking at Coop and just going like, Coop, it's not. It's not. It's just an old building. He's a showman. He's making it up for the documentary later,
As you say that, you hear a sharp, crystalline cracking sound. One of the windows on the front of the house, there's the tower sort of to the right corner, and then there's this bay window that sits between the tower and the front entrance. And the center window cracks from top down to bottom, spider webbing out loudly.
All right, so we're going in, right? Get this shit done.
Yeah,
Okay.
Quicker we get in, the quicker we can get out.
Right,
Okay,
yeah.
we should probably do it like this. Let's not do some mystery machine nonsense, okay? None of us like splitting up. We should stick together, and I feel like the only thing is, if we get in there, at least one big with a little, right? At least one big with a little. That Coop,
Yeah.
I don't feel like we should get separated from them, okay?
I'm not going anywhere by myself.
Oh,
Not a
that's
chance.
probably a good
Nope.
idea.
Yeah.
It's a big
Stick
place.
together.
Like we should stay together. That's fine.
Okay. And I think
Laz is gonna like move towards the front door.
Jake, where is Persephone while all of this is going on?
Great question.
So you are all standing with your bikes and your skateboard and Persephone just at where that circular driveway sort of goes forward and around the front, where it looks like, you know, people might be dropped off and then turn and head back down the lane. But there's that spur that goes along the west side of the house. On either side of that, there are these brick columns that have what look like, they're not burning, but they look like they may have at one time been gas lanterns or maybe electric lights. You are standing on the outside of the property, right at those brick pillars. And Persephone is standing there with all of you, just looking up and kind of looking at all of you. If Billy is in there and is one of those wolves, then we will have to go in there to get him, right? That's the plan.
Yeah. And hopefully once we're in there, Jessica and Anne will stop blowing away. Right? I don't know how else to describe that.
Mist fuzz.
Mist fuzz.
So the light hurt Billy because it was silver. We still have, and Coop reaches into his backpack and pulls out the silver bar. We still have this, and he hands it to Laz. And
take it.
I'm not sure how I remember this, but I'm pretty sure you have one too, Rosie.
Holy shit. That's incredible, Coop. And she would pull off her, like, kind of pull her backpack around to the front and, like, go through it, and sure enough,
You're like, oh, that's why it's been so heavy.
Yeah, oh, shit. I was wondering. Also, something's been poking me in the back. Okay. Oh. Damn, Coop. Well, yeah, thanks. That's shit. I wish I would have remembered that, you know, about half an hour ago. Anyway, yeah, the sooner we get in, the sooner we can get out. I think we should go.
Right. Laz kind of like wipes his like sweating palms like on the sides of his pants, and he kind of takes a deep breath and starts to head down the driveway.
I go with him.
As you begin walking towards the house, Jessica, you notice that you and Anne, that sort of wispy air of whatever that was leading you towards the house, seems to a last few wisps and they vanish, and you are stabilized.
Hey,
at the same
never
moment,
mind. Let's not go in.
At the same moment, you hear, I don't know what's happening. And you see Persephone, whatever effect was happening to the others is happening at 10 times speed to Persephone. It's as if her entire essence is disintegrating in wisps and being pulled towards the house. I feel I feel kind of weird.
Persephone, no!
Find me. And she dissipates completely.
Oh man, Rosie is having a deep reaction to her just vanishing like that, and she's trying not to show it on her face. She does pick up her pace towards the house, though. She doesn't say anything else. She just walks towards the house faster.
Where are you heading towards the house? Because there's the closest entrance to the left corner, which looks like a front entryway, but there is a door on the porch on the right and another one further back, and there does appear to be a backside to the house that might have an entryway as well. And whatever's on the western side of the house is shrouded in shadow, where that carriage house is, so you're not sure.
Well, I mean, like in any good haunted house movie, we go in through the front door, right?
Well, as Laz is getting ready to push open the front door, I would say, Could you see the front door from the road?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know.
Think
Here's
of
the
it.
problem.
Think of it that you.
Rosie would say, "Here's the problem."
Think of it like it's an oblique angle. You're sort of looking at the front and the right side of the house all at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Jake, I have a question.
Yes.
Oh God.
Are any of
Yeah,
the
fine.
doors green with a brass handle?
It is difficult to tell in this light because you are viewing everything at night through with the only light source being the silver light of the moon. From this distance, you cannot tell. And the front door is shrouded in shadow.
Never mind. Front door is fine. We can go through the front door. I just don't want anybody to come up behind us and catch us. That deputy has been on our tail. I don't want him to come in and see the front fucking door open.
Well,
Should
just
we
close
hide
it
our
behind us.
bikes?
Yes, most
Yeah.
definitely we should hide our bikes. Pull them around back at least.
Maybe we should keep them close to the house though, just
Mhm.
just in case.
But I mean, we can we can just shut the door behind us. As far as my worry, I didn't think that one through.
Yeah. All right. So
Go ahead and open the door, Laz.
yeah, let's just
So you've-
go right in.
You've walked up to the front door.
Yeah, go up the front porch.
All right. You see a set of stairs, just like 4 or 5 stairs, that leads to not much of a front porch at all, just enough space for somebody to stand in front of, in front of the door, which you can see there's 3 squares of or panes of glass up near the top. The door does have a darkened shade that you can't tell, but you can see the polished brass handle of this front door.
Do we does somebody have flashlights? Did anybody bring flashlights?
Oak's on it. When you say flashlight, he's just like,
Oh,
yeah.
I have one. Coop reaches into his backpack and goes, "Oh, beans," and pulls out a broken plastic Garfield flashlight.
Oh, damn it. We have one flashlight between all of us. Does Laz have his lighter?
The one good mag
Definitely.
size one, yeah.
If any
Billy
of you
had a
is carrying-
flashlight.
Oh,
If
that's right.
anyone-
Billy had
Oh.
a flashlight.
If anyone's carrying my bag, you would have my flashlight.
Nice. I'll bet you the
Yeah, I
Boy
guess-
Scout has one. Who's got his backpack?
Nobody.
Did we
You,
leave it in
you
the
said
lighthouse?
we'd always have
I don't know.
somebody's backpack unless he's got it on his wolf form.
Looking amongst yourselves, none of you have Billy's backpack.
Damn it.
Well, we have one flashlight. That's plenty.
Oak, did you turn
We're
on
only
your
meeting together
flashlight?
anyway.
Yeah, I would have turned it on.
As you turn on the light reflects on Coop's face, and for a moment, Coop's face looks green as the light bounces off of the green door with the brass handle.
That's not ominous at
Well-
all. We're fine.
Oh, you
I'm-
shined it right in my eyes. Don't do that.
I'm sorry. I didn't.
I
mean
imagine
to.
Rosie and Laz are like staring at this brass doorknob, and Rosie would say, "Well, go ahead, Laz."
Me? Oh yeah.
No,
okay,
the other Laz. Yes, you.
No, I mean you. He steps forward and like grabs the handle and like opens it or tries to.
You open the door inward, and you see a vestibule. It's about 5 feet across and about 8 feet deep, where there's a set of interior double doors with large glass panes, and beyond that you can see dark wood paneling, I shouldn't say paneling, panels, real wood just on the other side, whatever the wall is. As the door swings open and we hear we're going to cut to elsewhere.
We're gonna cut away.
We don't know where, but we see a figure face down on the floor. The figure begins to stir, their hand moving, kicking up a little bit of dust from the floor. With a groan, they turn their head and face the camera, and we see Billy in human form. Billy, you ache everywhere. The last thing you remember is feelings of intense rage on the beach. And that was it. You have no idea where you are or how you got here. You are dressed in jeans and a t-shirt, and your backpack is sitting next to you on the floor.
Oh, awesome.
Billy, what do you do?
Kind of like groans as he moves and kind of gets to a sitting position. Am I wearing my shoes that I know I had taken off at the beach?
Yep.
So he's going to sit perplexed for just a moment and just kind of, as stupid as this is, just kind of stare dumbfounded like, I know I took these off. I'll kind of grab my backpack and throw it over a shoulder. And I begin trying to like take in the room that I'm in to try and figure out any kind of information.
Roll me a d4.
That's a 1.
All right. Roll me a d8.
That will be a 2.
You are in a room that isn't very large. I would say the room you are in is maybe 8 foot square. You can see a sliver, not even a sliver, like you can see the streaks of moonlight coming in through a window that is on one wall, and there is another window. As your eyes adjust to the moonlight, you see a sink, a cast iron bathtub, and a toilet. And there is a door on the western wall of this room. The windows are on both windows are in the northeast corner, one on the north and one on the east wall. You are in a bathroom.
So he looks at the window, sees the moonlight coming through. Am I in the path of the moonlight?
Nope. That's sort of, the moonlight's coming down and is falling into the cast iron bathtub. That is on that, sort of centered on that eastern wall. You were lying on the dusty porcelain or dusty tile floor of this bathroom.
All right. Well, first thing I have to do, I want to just put my hand out into the moonlight and see if it affects me in any way, shape, or form. Because I don't know how long it's been since I transformed. I don't want to go looking out at the moon just yet. I want to see if it does anything to my hand.
You hold your hand into the light coming in through the window, and nothing happens. Roll me a D100, please.
That's going to be 09.
09. As you...
Hey, Ted, why don't you roll another one of those?
Oh, no. That's a whole other thing.
Yep, nothing like being in a haunted house. Having to do
This is
good old
some-
25.
25. All right, give me 1 second. As Tamiko
While
cashes
Jake
in
takes
for
a
the
second.
D100.
Check us out on teespring.com. At teespring.com, we have all kinds of great logos, including our Paradise, Michigan logo. We also have different ones for your more fantasy-oriented RPGs that you can get on tank tops, hoodies, t-shirts, coffee mugs, stickers, and more. Teespring.com. Just search Mini Terrain Domain.
Billy, as you place your hand in the path of the moonlight, you have that sensation of expectation. You tense, not sure what's going to happen. Two things happen simultaneously. One, from somewhere beyond the room you are in, though it sounds distant, you hear muffled voices speaking. The other thing you feel is in that adrenaline rush of anticipation, placing your hand in the light, you are able to store that adrenaline as a burst of speed, quick as the flash, and you're off. Your next flight check will automatically explode once. That is your D100 result from Tamiko.
Nice. Hell
Very
yeah.
cool. Yay for, not getting a moss growing on my body that's going to kill me.
That's terrific. Good for you.
So, takes pulls back his hand, stretches a little bit, as I'm going to look out the window, so I can see if I have a clue where I'm at, I identify the location anyway.
Looking out the two windows, the one on the east wall is a little hard to get to because of the bathtub. But you can kind of squeeze between the bathtub and the wall on that northern window. Through the window, you can see the moon setting slowly below the horizon. But in the light of the moon, you can see so where you're looking at this window, you can just see a little bit more of the house you're in extending back. You can see the edge of a porch, and you can see out behind the house a gazebo and the gravestones of a small cemetery.
So am I on a first floor or second floor of whatever building?
Based on looking out this window, you are on the first floor.
So I will kind of creep to the door. You said something about hearing muffled voices. I'm going to see if I can listen and see if I can gather any information as to how many people.
Make a grit check, please.
That's going to be an 11.
As you start to move towards the door, you do hear a slight shift in where the voices seem to be coming from. Following the sound, you see along the base of one wall, you see about roughly a foot by a foot is what looks to be cast iron grate that rises up. It is a very old-fashioned heating vent. And the voices are coming through that vent from somewhere else in this house. And what you are hearing with that 11 sounds like the primary voice is a man. You can't hear what he's saying. You just hear, and occasionally you'll hear one or two other voices, another man, and at least one other woman.
but it sounds like adults.
Yes.
If I had to make an educated guess, would it sound like it's coming from a basement, or is it coming up from the basement or down from the second floor? Would I be able to ascertain that?
Yes, it sounds like it's coming from either the basement or the second floor. It's coming through a vent. It's not
I was trying
directional.
to say, like,
I know what you're trying to find out. What I'm saying is,
sure.
no, you can't determine direction because it's coming through the vent. So it could be coming from anywhere else in the house.
got it. Sure. All right. Well, I'm gonna try and move as stealthily as I can, and I want to slip out of this room, just trying to take in my surroundings and not alert whoever these adults are.
All right, you open the door. We cut to at the vestibule with all the others piling in. Just beyond the door, the double doors, Laz, these interior doors. From somewhere inside the house, you hear some kind of
Probably just the house settling.
very creaky sound.
But not necessarily another door opening.
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like the squeaking of hinges of another door opening.
Is there like a really like delayed echo in here, or like was that another door opening?
I mean, it's probably just the wind kicking through and winging a door open. You know how that happens. When we opened the door, you know, it let air in and...
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, here goes. Hello? He kind of turns and calls out into the house. Knock, knock.
So you've opened those interior
As-
doors? Because right now
Rosie
you're standing in a
wants
vestibule.
That's
Rosie
the
wants
only
to
other.
reach behind her with her bat and stay perfectly still otherwise, and she wants to, like, tap Laz on the back of the knee as he is at his most tense. Like, just
Like,
intense
jerks his leg, like his knee, like up to his stomach, like expecting something to be there.
Make me a quick flight check, Laz.
Okay. Light, a d6 plus 1. All right. That's a 4 total.
Reacting to this sudden scare of Rosie tapping the back of your leg, you sort of lurch involuntarily as you jerk your knee up. Your elbow bangs into one of these doors, and you get that sound when a door isn't super thick and you sort of smack into the door. It sort of opens into the hall space beyond, but doing that sort of and it sort of wobbles inward.
Shit. I'm sorry, Laz. I didn't mean for you to hit your elbow.
That was cruel.
It was pretty funny.
You'll suck.
Billy,
I think Jessica would also kind of like laugh.
Well, Jesus, somebody had to lighten the mood.
Billy, you hear that sound, that sort of, and then you hear what you're pretty sure sounds like Laz and Rosie's voice and Jessica's laughter. It's
I'll
distant,
stop.
but it sounds like it's on the same floor as you.
I'll stop moving and just try to orient in the direction that I heard that, and see if I can hear something else that sounds like them. And if I get confirmation, then I'm just going to begin moving quietly, but as quickly as I can towards them.
You stop and you listen. And you hear You hear somebody sobbing and weeping and sniffling as if they are trying not to be heard.
Figure out where that might be coming.
So as you open that bathroom door, you immediately are looking westward into a very large kitchen. You can see to your right, there's a window and a door that leads out to a back porch. Immediately to your right are two more doors on the same wall as this bathroom door. Immediately to your left is a long hallway. You can see that it extends past where there's another door, and there's a couple openings. There's a table situated in the middle of the room. This hall, it's got to be a good 30, 40 feet down this hall, and you can just make out on the floor, in the dust of the floor, is some kind of ornate rug underneath there. Also immediately to your left in that hallway, you can see that around the corner from the bathroom is a set of stairs that lead upward. The weeping sound is coming from up those stairs.
I'll begin moving towards the hallway then.
Right? It just takes you a couple.
Not ready to go up the stairs yet, but
it takes you a couple steps, and you are in the hallway. The stairs are on your left. Laz, Rosie, and the others. Laz, roll me a D100, please.
Alrighty.
It's for how much you accidentally peed a little bit.
2 drops of pee-pee. 85%. I emptied my bladder, apparently.
Your pants are
Woof.
Laz, as you get sort of recover from the jump scare, you can see now that on the other side of this vestibule is... You're at the end of a very short hallway. Immediately to the right, you can see the hall leads into a larger hall area. Just a little bit further in to your right is a large open doorway that leads into some room. And that's what you can see from here. You also hear, very faintly, the sound of somebody weeping. You can just barely hear it. Just the occasional...
Yeah, he'll take like a couple of, creaky steps into past the doorway that they just opened. Kind of still rubbing his elbow. And he's like, the rest, are still, giggling, back behind him. And he's like, shh, listen, do y'all hear that? Listen, it's like somebody boo-hooing.
Every step, the floor creaks just a little bit. Billy, you can hear from the end of that hallway, just around a corner, some creaking sounds, and you think you hear Laz's voice. Very low. But you still hear the sound of the sobbing coming from up those stairs.
I'll creep forward, and if you said there's doors at the end of the hallway, I'll slowly begin to open the door.
There's a door. There's only one door on your right, partway down the hall. There isn't any door at the end of the hallway. If that makes sense. It's basically like a room on your right-hand side. That's what you're going to open that door?
Okay. Sure.
Okay. You open the door. I need you to roll me a D100. I warned the players ahead of this game there would be a lot of D100 rolls. I have multiple tables I'm using.
That That is a 100, sir.
I'm sure that'll be fine.
Instant death.
What does it
Well, you know.
mean?
What does it mean?
You open the door and you are looking into
The abyss.
what looks to be a dining room. There is a very elegant looking table in the middle of the room with chairs all around it. In the center of the far wall, which is the western wall, flanked on either side by tall, narrow windows, is a massive fireplace. As you are looking around the room, you also see that there is a door, a couple of doors on your right-hand side. One in the corner, on the same, basically, as you looking in the room, just over here on your right is a door, and next to that is a slightly smaller door that you can ascertain from the direction you came would open back in towards the kitchen. As you peer into this room, the fireplace ignites.
It's hell!
A brilliant, bright rush of flame. And then it settles into the snapping and cracking of a roaring fire. I would like you to roll me a d10, please.
Well, before the nonsense of whatever this D10 means, I will take even if it is just a split second of enjoyment. You know, the crackling of fire is a calming thing.
Oh, yeah. For
The 9, sir.
Okay. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. I will resolve that 9 in just a moment. As Laz, where you are moving forward and the others are coming up behind you, you see, now that you've stepped a little bit forward, you can kind of see kitty corner across this large hall. You can see immediately to your left where the wood paneling is, it starts to come down like this from a set of stairs, almost like a grand staircase. So it's not huge, but lots of thick oak banister and spindles, and at the very base is this large, thick pillar, and sitting atop it is a very ornate brass light fixture, though it is not illuminated. And you can see stairs with dusty, years upon years of dust on the carpet that leads up. They got those where the carpet presses up against the back of the riser are these brass bars that are holding it in place. But you also see across this room about 20 feet or so, in the shadows of a darkened hallway, you hear the sound of a door open, and you just make out the shadowy form of someone as suddenly bright orange firelight spills out into the hall, illuminating a silhouette of the person. As that light spills out into this room, you can now see that in the center of this grand hall, where there's this table with some kind of ornate vase and long dead, decayed stems of some sort of flowers that were once in it, looking little more than sticks. The flame seems to, not the flame, but the light from the flame seems to crawl across the walls, illuminating everything in this orangish light. And everywhere that this light begins moving towards you, you watch as the walls seem to melt, turning wood into molten, dripping down. The table in the center of the room begins to warp and shrink downward. The stems of long dead flowers burst into flame. That brass light fixture next to you begins to melt, and the molten brass drips onto your arm. How do you react in this moment?
he freaks the fuck out. Slapping at his arm where this seems to be dripping on. Maybe even like grabbing a hold of some of that like dusty, mildewy old carpet and like trying to rip that up to like, wipe this molten metal off of his arm.
Oak, Coop, Rosie.
I think I know the answer before. Oh, sorry.
And Jessica and Anne, you all see Laz starting to creep forward. And then he seems to freeze in place and starts to look all panicked, screaming at his arm, grabbing his arm. He rushes forward into the darkness, and you hear a clatter as a table falls over. A vase breaks as he grabs at this old rug on the ground and begins trying to wrap himself in it. Laz, your arm is burning to the bone from this molten metal on your arm as you are desperately trying to wrap it in this. And Laz is screaming out in pain.
Coop screaming with him sympathetically. As the second he started screaming.
He's
Coop
an
started
empath.
screaming too.
And Billy, you hear, just as you open the door and the fire bursts up, you hear Laz screaming just past. You sort of have this door open. It's like if you just close it a little bit, you can see over there. Laz is in this room on the floor, rolling around, screaming, and you can just make out the others behind him, and you hear Coop screaming as well.
Yeah, I'll head in that direction.
Oh God.
Quickly.
Do we all see this or not?
Yeah.
I think I know the answer already.
Yeah, you're all right there. Well, you don't see the flames. None
That's
of you.
what I was
Sorry,
asking.
none
I'm
of you
sorry.
sees the
Yes.
flames. You see the orange glow coming from the fire in the fireplace in the other room, and you can hear and even smell the smell of a fireplace. But only Laz sees the burning and melting.
Rosie wants to like run over to Laz, like runs over to him, and then like at the last second like puts her bat down. And is he like laying down at this point, or is he like?
Sounds like he was stop, drop, and rolling.
That's what I'm saying. So Rosie would like try to like kind of corral him, would like drop down onto her knees and would like try to like grab him kind of and just be like, Laz, stop, Laz, what's wrong?
The metal is fucking burning through my skin. It's like it's gonna cut my arm off.
Laz,
Oh my
stop.
God, it
Laz,
fucking
stop.
hurts.
And she would grab him by the face and she would just say, Laz, stop, everything's fine, look at me.
What are you talking
Look at me.
about?
Look
Laz,
at me.
Continue on. Roll a grit.
What the fuck are you talking about? It's burning through my arm. Fucking hurts. Ooh, a 2.
Never mind, it doesn't hurt at all.
No.
I'm fine.
No, a 2 is not good.
Well,
Laz, you are still experiencing the burning. You are watching the flesh melt away, burn up. You see your entire left forearm. You can see the bones with the charred flesh, and your bone has melted brass grafted onto it as your arm continues
I'm fucking
to
turning
burn.
into Wolverine, he says as he's like holding this out in front of him and he's like screaming and howling. Oh, it's gonna kill me. I know the whole thing is gonna eat me alive. It fucking burns.
What is he talking about?
Rosie doesn't know what to do. She just like holds on to him. She just like holds him.
Jessica wants to go and is gonna try something. Jessica wants to try and take some piece of fabric and like wrap it over like Laz's eyes, like to make him stop seeing what he is.
Well,
You're not Wolverine, man. It's fine.
I
Stop it.
feel like
You're Cyclops.
this is the 80s. I feel like Jessica probably definitely has some kind of scarves, multiple scarves or
yeah.
headbands
or,
or
like a sleep
something.
mask.
Headband.
Yeah, headbands inside. You're able to absolutely
One of
do
the
that.
sweatbands.
Meanwhile, Coop and Oak, while Jessica and Rosie are tending to Laz, you see Billy standing just a few feet away, having just walked up. Billy in human form.
Coop sees him and screams again.
As this situation is very tense,
Yeah.
Rosie would look over her shoulder and be like, "Coop, would you cut it out?" And
Coop
then
throws
I
up a
think-
crucifix.
I would have.
The power of Christ compels you.
I would approach the group of like, look, you gotta be quiet. There's other people in the house.
As Jessica places his headband over your eyes, the pain goes away.
Yeah, I think there's like a delayed response where he's still like screaming and like thrashing around like for like a full second or two after like the headband is like pulled down over his eyes, and he finally like kind of catches his breath. What the fuck? He kind of like reaches, even though he's not looking, he can like reach out and touch his arm, and it feels normal.
Yeah, you feel flesh, you feel the hair on your arm.
What?
If anything, it's cool to the touch.
This place fucking sucks.
Laz, are you okay?
And you hear Billy's voice. And Rosie's, apparently.
Fucking seeing things and hearing things.
Rosie would like scoop up her bat now that Laz is settled, and she would like stand up and face Billy and be like, "How are you right now?"
No idea. I don't even know how long it's been since the beach.
It's been about a half an hour, man. It's pretty fresh.
I don't know how I'm dressed. I don't know how I've got my shoes. I haven't even got my bag here. All I know is I woke up 2 minutes ago in the bathroom, alone. And I know there's other people in the house. At least two men.
As Billy says that, you all realize you can hear voices. And they're coming from the dining room that you just came from, Billy. Jessica, there's something familiar about one of the voices you hear. It takes you a minute to place it because it's the last thing you expected to hear. You hear your father's voice coming from the dining room.
So immediately, Jessica, she had let out like a sigh of relief, not really like confident that that was actually going to work, but very happy that it did. All of a sudden, her eyes widen as she looks to Billy. The other people, like, what did like one of them look like, or both of them? Was there a man, like, and she'd like go into like this description, brown hair, yeah.
I didn't see them. I only heard voices through the fence.
And Billy, you saw no one in the dining room when you opened the door. You just saw the flames light up. You definitely hear voices coming from the dining room now, which, case in point, is only about 15 feet away from all of you.
I'm just gonna like have a quick peek. I'll just be right back.
Jessica, wait, what if it's like some dudes from the lab or something?
Well, then that's all the more reason to like know who they are, so we can like beat them up again.
Jessica, as Rosie's cautioning you, you see in front of you, closer to that door, Anne is holding her hand out to you and says, "We gotta go. We gotta check this out."
Yeah, Jessica nods.
I like it. I like it.
As we're gonna go check out the living room.
As you walk over to the dining room,
Billy's gonna follow along.
Rosie's staying with Laz.
Coop, Oak, what are you doing?
Coop looks at the departing Biggs, and then looks into the spooky room, looks at the departing Biggs, looks into the spooky room, and looks at Oak. Where should we go?
Oak is the leader of the hobbits.
He's torn, and he's like,
Just stay here, okay? Stay here with them. I'll be right back.
And Coop watches helplessly as Oak, with his camera, chases down the hallway after the Biggs that are leaving, and finds himself alone, and goes, "Oh no!" and goes into the spooky room.
When you say spooky room, are you talking about the hallway where
The what is
the
it?
dining room? Are you following me to the dining room?
Wherever Laz was rolling around.
that was the grand hall?
Okay, there.
I would like to go there,
Okay.
please. That one.
Okay.
So, to be clear, Jessica, Anne, Oak, and Billy are going to the dining room.
Yes, we would then travel to. I believe, yeah, because Oak wants to stay. Oak wants to stay with Laz, but once he realizes that like Laz is calming down, Rosie's got him, and that Coop is not willing to go to the dining room, Oak it has this weird like, I don't want to go either, but I'm morbidly fascinated with whatever this is. So I have to go.
He has his camera. He's got to document it.
I gotta document and I gotta know.
Proud of you, man.
Yeah.
Journalistic integrity.
Sure,
It is
yeah,
alive and well.
if you've seen Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal, you understand. I gotta do this.
So, as you are standing there, Jessica, Anne is holding her hand out to you, like to take your hand. You take her hand.
Yes, yeah, Jessica would.
So the two of you walk, leading the way. You move over to the doorway where you see the firelight spilling out into the hallway. Billy and Oak right behind you. And we see for a moment the four of you framed in the door from the inside. And we can see the firelight sort of dancing around a little bit. And then the lighting seems to change a little bit as sconces in the chandelier slowly illuminate, filling this room with electric light. You hear a voice, and you all see, sitting at the head of this table, closest to the fireplace, is an older gentleman who looks like he could be anywhere between 60 and 90 years old. It's hard to tell. He wears a suit that seems definitely out of style for 1980 something. He looks up at all of you. He says, "Don't just stand there in the door. Come in and have a seat." And the four of you get a chill as two figures pass through you and enter the room. The first is a woman who looks to be... Let me get this right based on the year. She looks to be somewhere around 30 years old. And next to her is a girl who looks to be about 14 or 15. Looks very similar to this woman in a way that looks like she's probably her daughter. The woman that you see walk in that passes through you is a much younger, by about at least 15 or so years, Darla Stapler, who appears to have about a 14 or 15-year-old daughter that comes in and sits at the table with her. The man turns and looks to his left and says, "Please, forgive me. This is my daughter, Darla. This is my granddaughter, Darla, and my great-granddaughter. They will be sitting quietly and observing. Now, we have much to discuss, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And you see sitting on the other side of the table are Joseph and Sarah Smith. And Sarah, your mother, is very, very pregnant. That's where we're going to take our break.
Jesus crumps. What the? Whoa.
That's the kind of look I like to see. You have no idea what's going on. Excellent. All right, we're going to take about a 10-minute break. Give a couple people chances to pick their jaws up off the floor, and then we will be back to continue with
Connecticut.
The second half of Welcome to Stapler House. We will see you in just a few minutes.
Let's go.
And we're back.
Oh no, more tech issues?
Uh-oh.
Oh gosh, where's Jake?
I can't see him again.
I'm here, guys.
Where
Look.
did he
I'm
go?
right here. Ooh.
Oh,
That's actually really
the second time.
Good.
Shaky fist.
Oh
That's
no.
so good.
It's really good.
Is it a ghost or is it
Except-
albino grimace?
Except I just
We
noticed
don't know.
it's the ghost of Grimace.
All the purple is been sucked out of the game.
So I just realized when I did the transition here,
Just Grimace before he got his summer color.
when I built the transition, it was brighter outside.
Incredible. Well done.
So you can see the shift in light. Not only that, if you look at the clock, which is backwards because my thing
It
is
also got
split.
darker. Wonderful.
Yep.
Wunderbar.
Ah,
There he is.
Got darker
That's
because
a-
it's spookier.
right?
Yes, obviously.
You want to talk about spookier? Ah!
I got it. Scary.
Put the sheet back on.
My blood
Of course, my stream can't handle it
Blood
because it
pressure
started
is
to
spiking.
it started to lag
I love
spike during the ghost thing. It's a spooky thing.
Yep.
Okay.
It's way too spooky.
Speaking of spooky,
Hey, Doug. Hey, Doug.
yeah, Doug. That's just for you, Doug. Speaking of spooky, a point of clarification: as the four kids were standing in the doorway, and the two people passed through them, it was not as if the two people were incorporeal. It's as if Oak and Billy, Jessica, and Anne are incorporeal. And the last thing we saw was Sarah and Joseph Smith sitting at the dining room table across from Darla and her teenage daughter. And at the head of the table is Darla's grandfather. Now, as I said, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, we have quite a bit to talk about. As you know, I am Reginald Hawthorne Stapler.
That name is incredible.
We are here to talk about the future of your child. Sarah kind of holds her belly as she sits a little bit away from the table. She says, I'm kind of thinking maybe it's twins. Oh. You don't say. Well, The deal was for just the one child. So I thought maybe if it's twins, we could keep one? Well, that is certainly something to consider. A decision will be made after the child is born, or children, as may be the case. Darla, he looks over at his granddaughter, and she reaches down to one of the chairs that's sitting closer to her grandfather, and she grabs a stack of papers, and she sets them on the table and slides them over. Now you've had ample opportunity to review the contracts. Nothing has changed in this contract. This is just a cleaner version that we will keep for our records. You will both sign, and as per the agreement, you will receive the money directly deposited into your account, and in 1980 something, you will send your child or children to stay here in Paradise with Robert and Joan. Joseph looks at the papers and looks at Sarah and says, "Yeah, and I just had one question. The agreement's for 250,000, but if it is twins, again, the decision will be made at the time of the birth. We are willing, if the decision is made to take both of them, then yes, we will double the amount. You will have approximately 16 years before you have to send them here. Make the most of it. Do you have any questions?" The way Reginald Hawthorne Stapler says this, it is very clear that he is not asking if they have any questions, but telling them that they shouldn't have any questions. Joseph looks at Sarah and says, Yeah. We'll do it. And he reaches over to the elegant looking pen that is sitting already on the table. And it's a fountain pen. And he picks it up and he starts to sign, and you hear the scratching on the paper, and he says, "Is there an inkwell?" Touch the top of the pen. He looks at it, and he touches the top of the pen, and And as he pulls his thumb away, there's a prick of blood. And a single drop of blood appears at the nib of the fountain pen. Joseph looks at it and signs his name. In the date column, he begins to write the month and the day, and he says, there. And you can see from your vantage point as he's writing it out, the year that he writes is 1969. He hands the pen over to Sarah. She takes the pen in one hand and with her other hand lightly caresses her belly. She glances over at the door. It seems to be looking right at you, Jessica. And she's just pausing for a if you'll pardon the pun, a pregnant pause. In this moment, do you say or do anything, or are you just observing this play out?
Oh man, Jessica is going to kind of back away from this. I think she can't really see any more of that. She's going to run into, I guess, the other room that they were in before.
The Grand Hall?
She is going to find the closest trash can receptacle, and I think she's going to hurl into it. She is suddenly very ill with the realization that has just overcome her senses.
What does Anne do when Jessica flees?
She kind of looks over her shoulder for a moment as Jessica breaks free of where they were holding hands. Anne is transfixed. She glances for just a second in the direction Jessica went. And while you hear Jessica being sick out in the hallway, Anne is sort of mouthing, "Twins. Mom? Mom!" And she steps forward into the room and says, "Mom, don't do it! Don't do it!" And she walks over very quickly and tries to take the pen away, and her hand passes through. She tries to grab hold of Sarah's shoulders, and she can't grab hold of her. Sarah suddenly goes, oh, baby's kicking." And Joseph just kind of reaches his hands over and goes, "Definitely feels like a strong kick, and I think there might be more than one in there." And you see him glance on the contract where the amount $250,000 is written. "Sign it." "Oh, yeah." And she kind of looks at the pen and she pricks her thumb on the end of it. And as the blood flows to the tip, she signs Sarah Smith and dates it. Very abruptly, Reginald Hawthorne Stapler stands up. "Then it is done. We will see you again in 16 years. He walks over and he scoops up the paper, being sure to leave where the signatures are open and not smear the signatures. "Darla, let's go." And without preamble, they walk through those of you that are standing in the doorway. And as they pass through you, you see Sarah and Joseph Smith sitting at the table. Sarah rubbing her belly and Joseph sort of touching, and as they're kind of marveling at the babies kicking, as they slowly fade away and the firelight dies down to nothing. And once again, they're in 1980 something in the old rickety remnants of the Stapler house.
So Billy had kind of like backed off a little bit when Jessica, fled. Certainly wants to give her space to, vomit in peace. But when she kind of starts to seem like she's got some composure, he's gonna like, "Are you okay?"
Jessica just is silent. That was real, she says, like more to herself, maybe hoping that it would seem silly to say. but as she says it, you can tell that she's like resolute in that.
We don't know what's what. Did your parents have a lot of money?
Jessica like kind of think back now with this knowledge, this hindsight that she had. Like, is there anything that stands out now that would prove to her that this is real?
There's a reason that, Jessica, you have always had the latest designer clothes, been able to keep up with the latest fashion trends, latest hairstyles. Your parents didn't lavish you with expensive gifts, but if you wanted something, they didn't question it. Your parents always drove a nice car. You had a nice house. If anything stands out as maybe a little bit odd about that with this new knowledge, maybe it was because you were younger. Maybe for another reason. They always seemed to give in to your requests more than your older sisters.
So then, to Billy's question, Jessica just nods. They wanted to sell me?
Certainly
Why?
There's got to be more to it than what we're seeing here. This place is insane. I wouldn't let it get to you like that.
Those like aren't even my grandparents. What the shit? She says as she like kind of stands up with this realization. They talked about them like they weren't even like related.
It's entirely possible that this house is just trying to play with your head.
Coop, roll a D100.
Oh,
Me?
Yep.
Coop sees a ghost, and all of his friends leave him behind.
Absolutely not.
Same time.
Absolutely the fuck not.
A void
63.
enters the house.
63.
63.
Okay.
Oh, I hate it when he does
Thanks,
that.
Jake.
Sorry, not everything can be resolved in the moment. Anne has now come out and is standing next to you, Jessica.
Your take on this, Anne?
She's looking right at you, Jessica. Does that mean we were actually sisters? But I was never born.
You don't have any memories until like a couple weeks ago.
She thought she was having twins. And then she kind of looks confused for a moment, and she goes, but it was just you.
besides, if we were actually twins, they wanted to keep one anyway. So there would be only one of us here.
I don't know if that's better. I mean,
No, that's fucked.
but why you? Why were you born? And not me? Where have I been for 16 years? She just keeps staring at that now dark, empty dining room.
If the contract is real and it happened in this room, is there any chance that those contracts exist still in the house?
I saw the contracts. And based on everything that happened, that was 16 years ago, and the house looks like shit now.
You see that Oak is like, he's paying attention to his friends in the ether, but also he's looking at the monitor to make sure that, like, he doesn't, what did he, like, it, to see if he was able to capture those moments on video, or if it was just something that.
Oh, so you rewound the tape. And...
I rewound the tape, and I'm trying to replay it just to see if anything captured, or if I just literally took a video of an empty dining room.
You took a video of an empty dining room, and at some point near the end, Anne runs into the darkened room and grabs hold of a chair and is yelling out, "Mom, Mom." But your camera did not capture any of the things you saw.
Okay, that's perfect. So I think I overhear the idea of there being some form of paperwork. And then my brain... You remember... Do I need to roll for this, Jake? Because I remember us going to the library. And I remember Darla Stapler being there.
Mm-hmm.
And my thought process is that, hey, if you want to hide some really important documents and you don't want people to find them, either they're going to be in this house, or they might be at the library that no one fucking uses in this small town. So, just saying, the potential of maybe finding documentation at this secret society might be a thing. I think Oak's brain, kicks in and is like,
if there's documents, I mean, they might be here, but
roll me a brains check.
Yeah.
Your DC or D20 brain, right?
What is it? DC 20 on
D20 brain. Yeah.
It's a D20 brains check, which gets me to a. That would be a 13 on a brains check.
Anybody looking at Oak after he puts down his camera with a little bit of frustration, Oak seems to kind of be doing that, when you're thinking something through and you're kind of visualizing, so your eyes are darting around, your head's moving back and forth, and you see Oak kind of looking at the dining room and then sort of tracing a path out into the grand hall and tracing and looking and tracing. And Oak, you realize as these images, these memories, whatever they may be, of Reginald Hawthorne Stapler and his granddaughter Darla Stapler passed through you, you reflexively turned and saw them pass through the door and walk into the grand hallway. As you follow that path, you see where the stairs are that lead up. Next to that is a heavy oak door with a brass knob. It's not a green door, just a door with a brass knob. And the last image you see is of Reginald Hawthorne Stapler opening that door.
So Oak moves past you all in that moment. And he's so hesitant to try doorknobs. I'm going to be completely honest. He has some PTSD on doorknobs at this point. But he grabs the doorknob and will try to open it, see if it jiggles or if it's locked.
The door opens. On the other side of the door, you see what looks like a slightly larger closet type space. It's set under where the stairs go up, and then the next set of stairs goes up over top. It's basically, the door is a cupboard under the stair. As soon as you open the door, you see a massive black safe with a large brass turn dial and a couple other dials on it for entering a combination.
Jesse, Ann, if they kept that document, I'm gonna bet my camera that it's in there.
Immediately, Jessica stands up and rushes over without like a second thought.
If you look in the Discord, I have just placed an image of the actual safe that is in that place under the stairs in the real Striker house.
Oh my god. That's very cool.
I will also dump that in the public Welcome to Paradise.
Dude, what the
Discord.
fuck, man?
Oh, that's glorious. I'm so happy right now.
Very old, very ornate. Except in our world, this safe has the knob is much larger, and there are 3 separate combination dials.
There's 100% a body in there.
Oh yeah, there's the corpse.
Or has been
And
at some
the
point.
contract. That's all that
and
matters.
and
Yes,
the
of course.
contract.
Plus-
Yes.
Just open the door. Excuse me. Take the paper.
Sorry, I'm just gonna scooch in here.
We've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty.
Solar panels.
Jessica takes one look at this dial and has no idea. She turns around, she's like, so does anyone know how to crack a safe?
I'm gonna look to Anne.
I feel like in this moment, while Billy's looking at Anne, it just feels to me like if this was an 80s movie, as Jessica says that, every single one of you turn and look at Laz.
Yeah, 100%. Yes. All
This is
in unison. We're like,
Yeah, just pulling the headband kind of off of his eyes, kind of looking at his arm and realizes everybody's grown quiet. So he kind of looks up and sees everybody's turned looking at him. What?
can you crack a safe, Laz?
Crack a safe? What do I look like, Houdini?
Well, have you ever snuck in anybody's locker? It's got to be about the same thing.
I mean, fine. I guess I can give it a try. Chad brings up a great point, though. As Laz is walking over, he looks at Jessica. Can't you just stick your hand through shit?
Oh. Jessica 100% forgot.
Oh yeah.
Got a lot going on.
Jessica has a lot of thoughts in her brain. She's like, oh yeah.
Whoop. Oh, and by the way, yes, there is a corpse in there.
Gross.
Ew.
Ew.
You can try.
Jessica is gonna go over and try and calm herself, her breathing, and control it, and just is gonna try and reach in.
You reach your hand forward, and you can see Jessica's hand, almost like when the light of the lighthouse was causing that sort of ethereal dissipation. Jessica's hand begins to grow translucent. As you reach out toward the safe, and as your hand comes into contact, there's a blast of brilliant white light, and Jessica, you are launched backwards through the open doorway. You hit the floor and go skidding back until you bump up against a bookshelf, and a handful of books topple around you as you have skidded into the library about 25 feet away.
Oh my god.
Your hand is tingling as if you just grabbed a 220 volt live electric wire.
We've made a huge mistake.
Oh shit.
I wanna rush
hell
over to
happened?
Jessica, make sure she's all right.
And you are now in a different room that this is an open doorway off of the Grand Hall to the east. The walls in this room are all red, and the walls are lined with bookshelves. There's a couple tables in here. Tons of books everywhere. This is very clearly a library. Some of the shelves have some old dusty photographs on them. And on the eastern wall is another bay window that you can see is looking out over that porch that ran the length of the east side of the house. There's another open doorway to the south that leads into what looks to be some kind of a sitting room. But Jessica, yeah, you got knocked back a good 25 feet, skidded across the floor, bunched up part of the rug, hit the bookshelf hard enough for it to wobble. Books landed around you, and one of these sort of older, looks like something probably from the very beginning of the 70s. Very heavy, sort of brass or gold looking frame, where the frame is just way more material to it than what is basically a 5x7 picture inside it. But as it falls, it hits the floor next to you, just missing hitting your head. If it had hit you in the head, it would have cut your head open probably. And you hear or see, as it's sitting there next to you, this sort of crack running across the glass. And Billy has just run up to you and is checking on you.
I hate this place.
Pretty messed up. I'll reach my hand down to help you up.
Yeah, Jessica will take it.
Jessica, make a grit check real quick.
This is to tell how concussed you are.
Oh, no, that is not to check how concussed you are. Actually, just for the sake of posterity, Jessica, you are now stressed. And Billy, you are still stressed.
Oh? I thought you had said
I got a 1.
Yes, you have your stats, but the stressed is... It's not... you're stressed, okay? It's not the same stressed, it's you being stressed.
You're
okay?
stressed, okay?
Sorry, Billy, I need you to make a grit check as well.
Sure. That's going to be a 13, sir.
Yeah, Jessica, you don't notice anything in particular as Billy holds out his hand to help you up. But as you're helping her up, Billy, you see that heavy kind of gold ornate frame sitting on the ground next to her. And as you help her up, something in the frame, in the picture, catches your eye.
Okay. What do I notice?
Is a picture of your mother. Sitting on her lap.
My mother?
Yes, your mother. and sitting on her lap is 5-year-old Billy Simpson.
So like I reach out my hand and I start to help you up, and like I just freeze for a moment, and it's like you kind of like as you start to stand up, I'm pulled off guard for just a moment. I help you up, and then like I reach down and I grab the painting. I'm like, that's my mom.
It's a photograph, to be clear.
Jessica like goes up beside you. Yeah.
Not a
Jessica
human
goes
woman.
up beside. Jessica goes up beside you, Billy, and looks. You know, I like wouldn't be surprised if all of our parents were, or like had something to do with this.
I certainly didn't have, the kind of funds that just kind of trails off. It's possible that all of our parents made deals.
Billy, with that 13, as you're
Sir.
holding this picture, you can see under the dust there's somebody standing next to your mother, but they're obscured by the dust.
See if I can kind of brush it off, wipe it off.
You wipe it off, careful not to cut yourself on the cracked glass. But you can now see, as you dust it off, standing just behind your mother is your father.
Okay. I thought you were like, not your father.
No,
That's what I thought too. I thought he was gonna be like that old fucker you just saw in the other room. He's your
I was
real
expecting
father.
sharp.
it is your father. John Simpson. And next to him, holding his hand, is a 6-year-old Jerry Simpson. The crack in the glass comes down from the top and goes right between your mother and father. Something else catches your eye as you are looking at this picture. Something about your mother that there's no way you could have figured out until this very moment. She looks exactly like Darla Stapler's daughter, but 5 years older. The one who was in the room with Jessica's parents and with Darla, the teenage girl.
Okay.
So, like, I'm gonna stand there agape for just a moment, and I'm gonna try to get everybody to come over here and like fan out. Like, are there other pictures? Are there other things going on? I'm gonna, share. Like, obviously, only Anne, Jessica, and Oak saw in the room. But if I show the picture, I'm like, that's my mom, and you're gonna, they're gonna see that there's the resemblance. There's more connections here than there's gotta be, and I'll start looking around the room. Like, are there other pictures? Are there other families present that belong to our
Are you
group here?
inviting? Are you inviting us to like look with you? Is that
Yeah,
what you said?
yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Rosie
going,
would be
like,
wandering.
I'm
Hey.
completely going, conspiracy theory, like, Oak nonsense.
Hey, Jake.
Trying to tie this all together.
Fuck you, Tamiko, in advance.
I'd like to remind you that I have a feat called Treasure Hunter.
Oh, never mind.
Oh, don't worry. So
I retract my fuck you.
before you say that, no, actually, I
Rescinded.
would say before you even retract that, hear me out.
Oh no.
Coop, you saw Jessica go flying into the room and Billy come after her, and now Billy's flabbergasted and is calling everybody in to help look. And you see as everybody kind of walks into this room, those that weren't there already, and you follow and you come around the corner, you are standing in the library all by yourself.
Nope.
There is nobody else there.
Nope. Hey, hey, Billy, what's going on? Jessica, are you? Hello? Guys? Guys? Hello?
Do we hear him saying this, or
Oh.
are we still close enough, or no?
I would like all of you to roll a grit check. And I'm going to put the DC pretty low. I'm going to put the DC at a 5.
I got a 9.
We all got
I'm conspiracy
5 or
theory.
higher. Okay, well, everybody's actively looking for weird stuff.
I have
No, Rosie's kind of half looking anyway. This works out perfectly. She's just sort of absent-mindedly walking around.
I have a goddamn D20 in my grit. I
Do you-
rolled a 1.
That stings.
So, Rosie, you're the only one that notices as you're all looking around, you realize Coop is not there.
Oh, shit. Rosie would go back to where they were before.
Coop is
Like
not
the
there
last place
either.
she- What?
You don't see Coop anywhere.
Rosie would go back out to where they were and just start being like, Coop? Hey,
And we hear
Coop!
Coop, and it just sort of as you say that, we see Coop standing alone in the library. Coop?
Can I hear Rosie?
Nope. But
And
you
my
can,
friends aren't anywhere to be seen.
but Coop, what are your favorite cookies?
Oh damn. Um Coop likes the cookies that you make with chocolate and you put the peanut butter chips in them.
Ah,
Yeah.
you smell fresh baked cookies.
Coop's panicking because he can't see his friends and he's about to rummage through his backpack to try to find something to help his situation, and then
Oh,
You see
what's that?
over on one of the tables in the library, next to a red and dark oak wingback chair. This chair and this table have no dust on them. There is a small candelabra burning, and there is a plate of fresh baked chocolate cookies with peanut butter chips and a tall glass of milk that is so cold you can see the beads of sweat on the outside of the glass.
Oh, you bastard. Coop goes over to tentatively investigate. What?
They look real. They smell real.
He touches one of the cookies. Is it
Oh,
warm?
it is warm and gooey. It cracks just a little bit. A little bit of that peanut butter chip gets stuck on your finger.
Man, Coop hasn't eaten since the pizza. Which was like, what, 3 whole ass hours ago? Oh
Yes.
man. So
practically a lifetime.
it's like, oh man, I really should. Oh man, and he knows he shouldn't eat the cookies, but he really wants to eat the fucking cookies. And in true Tamiko fashion form, Coop's gonna eat the fucking cookies.
You know
no
how-
metagaming now, Tamiko.
You know how when you see the Toll House commercials
Mm.
and they always have that extreme close up and the cookies being pulled apart and it's the
Mhm.
warm, moist, gooey chocolate and the chips pulling apart? That is exactly what happens. These are so warm that everything is still melty, but not so warm that they burn your mouth when you eat them. They are absolutely delicious.
Coop's like, oh, hell yeah. And he eats another one.
And they're so moist
drinks some
and
milk.
rich. They get in your mouth and that milk, and you pick it up and you feel the coldness of the glass. And this is that extra bright white whole vitamin D milk.
Wow.
And you take a drink of it and it is cool.
If Coop's
and
gonna die,
refreshing.
man, this is the way to go.
I will die with cookies and milk. God damn it.
And do you keep eating the cookies? I picture
He maybe takes one, puts one in his non-existent blazer pocket for later. But yeah.
I definitely picture we see a shot of Coop just sitting in this high-backed wing-back chair with his feet dangling, and he's just got this big glass, and he's reaching over and grabbing another cookie and grabbing another cookie. Rosie, as you call out for Coop, you catch just the faintest whiff of chocolate and peanut butter.
And Rosie kind of laughs to herself, like, if there's a place she'll find Coop, it's where the chocolate and peanut butter is. And so she kind of smiles to herself and goes towards that smell.
Weirdly, it's coming from the corner of this room.
I go towards the corner of the room.
Everybody else, I would like you to make a grit check. This time you are in your investigation as you are looking around this room.
That's done.
And Coop,
Oh, shit.
I would like
Jeremy.
you to roll me any dice of your choice between a D4 up to a D100.
Wow.
Any single die. Well, with the exception of the D100, obviously.
This feels like a trick. I'm going to roll the lucky diamond-shaped D8.
Okay.
Right in the middle. That's a 4.
Right in the middle. Okay. Let's see. Oak. You're not really finding anything. M, was that 7 part of this investigation? Okay. And we got a 7, an 8, and a 10. So as the rest of you are looking around, you start looking at the various books and looking on the shelves, and you're finding all these dusty tomes and dusty picture frames of various types, and they look like they range from anywhere from 10 to 100 years in age. These picture frames do. Jessica, you find a photograph taken in this very library. It is black and white. It is in a decent frame, unbroken glass, just dusty. It is a photo of Billy as a baby in his mother's arms and standing next to little baby Billy and Billy's mother, Nancy. It's Nancy's mother, Darla. And an unidentified man who looks older than Darla by a good 30 years. And the man you now recognize as Reginald Hawthorne Stapler. This is definitely one of those 5-generation pictures. Laz, with your 8, you find a photograph of just, well, you don't recognize the woman actually. So what you see is a picture of a woman who we, the audience, recognize this woman as Sarah Smith. She is holding an infant. The picture appears to have been taken in a completely different room. You don't recognize what this room is. But where she is standing and she is holding the infant child, next to her is one of those full-length decorative mirrors, the kind that kind of tilts and pivots. And you can just see the baby reflected in the mirror, and the mother as well. But the infant that is in the arms of the mother is looking right at the mirror, at its mirror reflection. Billy, you find a picture. This one you find buried in one of the books. As you're flipping through, kind of pulling books off of shelves, one of the books comes open and this photograph outside of a frame falls to the ground. Inside that, or rather that photograph that was inside the book, staring up at you from the floor, you see, very similar to the one that Jessica found. It's a different photograph. And Billy, you are not an infant. You look like you're about 3 or 4 in this picture. Your mother Nancy is there, and your grandmother Darla. This man who is still unidentified, and Reginald Hawthorne. This picture, there's something odd about it. It has a texture to it. And as you shift your view, the picture shifts. It's a lenticular. It's one of those pictures that these grooves are basically, there's 2 pictures that are lying interwoven, and when you shift it, you twist it. They're on children's books and things like that.
One of them that goes zit, 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 zit when you do that on it. Yes.
And as it shifts, everybody in the picture except for little 3-year-old Billy Simpson is now a werewolf. And then you shift it back and they're all the same. You shift it back and they're all werewolves.
So I think Billy would, while he's cursed before, the fuck that just slips out is just one of those dawning realization moments. And I walk over to the table and I'll slap this down, hopefully trying to draw everybody in. But I'm planning on keeping this photo for very obvious reasons, Jake.
Okay, mark it in your inventory. Coop.
Yeah.
Sitting there. So we see Coop once again, the milk almost completely gone. The plate of cookies is almost completely gone, but Coop, your face is just smears of chocolate.
Yep.
And,
that tracks.
and your fingers and Coop. When was the last time you saw your dad?
Not crazy long ago, maybe a year or so. Because it was around the time He said he was leaving to go get a car. Not really a car.
As you're finishing off these cookies, you hear footsteps of somebody walking into the room. And it's your father, Roger. But he looks younger. He looks a good maybe 6 years younger. Just enough that he looks different to you, but not enough that you could actually pinpoint 6 years. He just looks like he's younger. Hey there, bud.
Hi?
It looks like you're wearing more of those cookies than you're eating.
Well, they were really good cookies. And
No, it's fine. It's fine. Listen. You eat all the cookies you want. Eat them up. You deserve them.
what are you doing here?
Waiting.
For what?
Waiting for payday.
The peanut candy?
Ah, Coop. Kenny. Don't worry about it. You just keep eating your cookies. And he kind of looks over his shoulder, and then he kind of strokes his chin, and he goes, and he's looking off kind of into the middle distance, and he goes, keep eating your cookies, you little bastard.
Have you seen my friends? Laz?
You realize that
Rosie?
not even your dad is there. Coop, I need you to make a very important grit check right now.
Oh my god.
What is your grit die?
Oh my god.
A D6. Here we go. A D6. It's a 3.
As you turn and you're calling for your friends, you taste something that is not chocolate cookie. It's bitter, gritty, and it feels like it's moving.
He spits.
You spit dry, rotten, crumbling bits of cookie, and you see maggots writhing around.
You bastard.
And the cup of milk that you were drinking, the sour, spoiled, congealed milk taste is in your mouth as you see that, well, what looks like cottage cheese in the glass that you drank from.
Well, Coop contemplates this for about half a second. Oh no. And then he hurls all over the table and the floor.
Appearing out of absolutely thin air, Rosie, you see Coop just suddenly, he's there in front of you.
Shit.
Doesn't even look at you and just hurls everywhere.
Oh god. And Rosie would kind of go over to him and like pat his back as he's puking and be like, well, if I had a nickel for every time I've gotten that reaction, kid, don't feel bad. Get it out.
As you're recovering, Coop, you suddenly realize all of your friends are in this room with you and you are in the library.
Oh, you're back! And Coop buries his little vomit face into Rosie's shirt.
Oh.
Sorry, buddy, you're there.
No, I hug him. It's not about that right now.
Sorry, I did not mean that to sound.
That's terrible.
I didn't anticipate how much that would
thing.
sound.
That's the most despicable thing you've done all night.
That was not intentional. I was just evening out the numbers.
So good.
Inappropriate.
Remarkable.
Oh my
Yellow
god.
light, yellow light, yellow light. That was not intentional. Oh my gosh. I need... Who hasn't rolled a D100 tonight? Rosie, roll a D100.
I have
Great.
also not rolled a
Just doing
D100
a
tonight.
fucking.
All right, let's double up. You roll one as well.
Okay.
Oh.
Woo. Let's
Oh my
go.
God.
I'm gonna die.
I got a 47.
Ooh, okay. 21. Blackjack.
Hey.
What the hell does that mean? All right. Sorry, you got a 20 what?
I got a 21.
Okay, so as Coop has just mysteriously appeared, and everybody's sort of looking around and doing their things, and Rosie's consoling the recovering
cry.
Coop. Oak, you hear coming from the wall that you are standing near. Something is scratching at the inside of the wall, similar to like if a squirrel or something like that. But as you hear that, you see the wallpaper bulge out and you see the impression of a hand. And then it recedes back. And Coop, as you are recovering, and Rosie, you're helping Coop, and Coop sort of slumps back into what is a very dusty, dirty, barely visible as red wingback chair. You watch, Rosie, as the arms of the chair wrap around Coop and pull him into it. And Coop, the chair begins to constrict around you as Oak, the paper bulges in front of you again. This time it's two sets of hands, and suddenly the paper goes, and that's where we're going to end.
Glorious.
Oh my god.
And that's our Halloween specials, episode 1 of the Stapler House arc. I got
Amazing.
way more awesome reactions from all of you than I could have ever hoped for. I am so just accustomed to all of you figuring out a lot of my twists and turns ahead of time. And I think I well and truly blindsided many of you tonight.
Yeah. How
And-
could you not?
It's just the beginning. So I'm now going to say something that I've
Stage
hinted
1.
at to you guys, and the audience hasn't heard yet. And I'm not spilling any beans of any kind, but
No such beans.
I have told the players that a couple weeks ago I had an epiphany, and I know how this first season of Kids on Bikes is going to end. Something that when I started this game I did not anticipate. I just thought we would just keep playing. I didn't anticipate it being seasonal. There is a twist that is going to come or a surprise, I should say, that will lead us into the second season, and it will happen in the finale of season 1. The players have all, either graciously or foolishly, entrusted me to let them go blindly into this finale. And the reason I bring this up is because I have to check the numbers again because I've completely blanked on it. I think the number is 4, but after tonight's episode is now 3. we have 3 episodes left in this arc and in this season. That will take us into either right before or right after the Thanksgiving break, which takes us into the normal MTD December break. And then we will return in the new year with season 2. That I'm not even going to tell you the subtitle of, because that will give some things away. But this is the first you, the players, are hearing how many episodes are left in this season. So keep that in mind, that for the next few episodes, we are in the end game of this season. So as you've seen tonight, things have escalated. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. You're literally only on the first floor of the Stapler house, and you've only been in a couple of rooms.
That's fucking okay. Wow.
Actually, the stunned silence is I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah,
I'm here for it.
I want to go back. I want to go back so I can see that moment when I revealed that it was Joseph and Sarah Smith that were sitting at the table.
Yeah.
And that she was pregnant. The look on M's face.
eyes were.
M's face in particular, but Em wasn't the only one reacting.
You really got me at eat your cookies, you little bastard. That was when I messed up my eye black.
So,
that was out of the blue.
Just a tiny little peek, because obviously I'm not going to give away all my tricks, but we are ultimately playing a game. So a lot of the D100 rolls we're just rolling for effects on a D100 haunted house table that I have. And I'm combining elements and making things happen as they fit. Sorry, Coop, you got food spoils or rottens. It took me a little bit to figure out how I was going to work that in. But you've also been rolling for other types of things that are happening. I have been making some rolls to randomly determine who is the focus of certain things. So while there are plot elements that I know, I'm not just making these plot elements up on the fly. The revelations are happening with that sort of gamification. There's a randomization to it, and just kind of reacting or rolling with how you guys are navigating through this. So I'm excited for the next few episodes to see what else you uncover. There will be a point.
Well, I mean,
there will be a point. I just can't do it right now because it's just giving away too much. I have a full map of the first and second floor of this house, detailed map of the rooms, their layout.
Nice.
That I spent weeks trying to get right, and it's as close as I could remember from my own memory plus pictures of the interior of the real life Striker house. I just took some creative liberties with it, but I will at some point, probably by the end of this season, enough will have been revealed that I can show you what the Stapler house looks like, and I will share that on the Discord with the public. Welcome to Paradise channel. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, somebody type !Discord. You can join us in the MTD Discord. All right, we're already a few minutes past. I just got to say a huge thank you to everybody. Audience, thank you so much for joining us. Everybody that tuned in tonight, or if whether you're watching actively and participating in chat, or if you're somebody that likes to listen quietly, lurking in the background, or you're watching later on the VODs, of course we appreciate having you there. And I love seeing the comments on YouTube. I'm seeing people that are just discovering this series and are starting at the beginning. One guy left a comment on episode 2. 2 days later, left a comment on episode 17. So somebody's binge watching our game.
Oh, so
cool. You can, of course, catch all of our VODs usually within a week after they air over there on YouTube. Thank you to everybody who, quite frankly, is mostly Tamiko and others in the game, supporting the channel and supporting with all those domain tomes, so you can get those D100 grab bag rolls, and you will absolutely be wanting to use adversity tokens in our next sessions. I'm confident of that. But finally, just a huge thank you, and more than I usually say. It takes a lot. Horror can be hard to run sometimes. So it takes a lot of investment from your characters, and your players rather, to inhabit their characters and buy into that social contract of what we're doing. And I couldn't ask for a better group of friends and players for doing that. You don't question it. You guys just buy into the horror. You let me run amok with your characters. You give me a little bit of crap when earlier in the day of game day I ask you to fill out a Google form with a bunch of pertinent information.
By you, he means me.
We would
I
never.
give him crap.
Yeah.
I openly accuse.
Well, I can tell you now, some of it was because I couldn't remember what your parents' names were, and I absolutely needed to know.
What's your entire family's name? Yes, I mean extended.
By this afternoon, I need a full.
Yeah. I need your family tree,
detail, history
To
tree,
accomplish
DNA.
23andMe.
but
23andMe.
but my point is, even with the joking aside, you guys put a lot of trust in me as the game master. And let me take liberties with what you've put out as your characters. And I know you guys just embrace that stuff and you roll with it. And Tomiko, knowing that your character was screwed and just going for the cookies. Is this where a movie, if we were watching this as a movie or a Netflix show, we would be going, don't eat the cookies. You never eat the cookies.
It's a theme too. It's every character I play is gonna eat the thing.
So
They're gonna eat the thing.
So all of that.
I mean, come on, it's with those descriptions, everybody wants those cookies.
Listen, I don't know where that came from, other than I haven't eaten dinner yet. So I think that's why I leaned all in. And M can tell you, I studied under the food descriptive DM prowess of one Mike the Piper, who is an expert when it comes to describing food. That man loves to describe banquets or simple breakfasts, can make you thirst for a cup of coffee with his descriptions. I've spent years under his DMing with those kind of descriptions, so I think some of that is an homage to Mike. But all of that to say, you guys are all amazing. I am just so lucky to get to play this game with you. I can't wait to see where we go with these next few episodes and to take that screen grab when the big reveal happens in that season finale episode. I just can't wait for it. I'm anticipating it. So thank you, as always, Chad, Tomiko, Carrie, Ted, Jeremy, and Em, without whom this would be just me talking to myself for a couple hours. With that, we're going to go ahead and end this stream the same way we end every stream, and you can say it with me if you want.
Got worms.
Is that Victoria Lee?